Okay, so this morning I'm going to do a little demo of in oils for those that are interested in painting a portrait. I've been asked to show my mixing and how I get my flesh tones. So that's what I hope to do today. You can work along in acrylic also. There's just a few things that are a little bit different when you're laying down your first layer. So with my portraits and my portrait colors, I still start mine off, it's a little different than a lot of others, with my mother color. So I'm going to go ahead and mix my mother color here, and then I will go from there. So just hang on. Okay, so I have mixed some mother color here, and to refresh you, I use my ultramarine blue, my cadmium yellow light, and my cadmium yellow red. Mostly the red and the blue with a little bit of the yellow to neutralize that. And I like to just test my mother color to see if it's the tone I like by adding a little bit of white to it. So I'm getting this nice, like a murky purple. I don't know if you can, maybe you can see that a little better there. I don't add the white to the whole batch, just to test it on the side. Now, if I was doing this in acrylic, I would be mixing my values, adding my white all the way down. So I go from my dark, my mids to my light. But in oils, we want to have our underpainting as a lean layer, which means more terps and less paint. So we always want to paint fat over lean, so I want to keep this layer lean. So I've chosen the picture that I'm going to do. It's just going to be a practice for me because I have to do this in a collage. So my canvas is just I believe this is a 10 by 10. It was an old canvas. I repainted it red because personally I like to work with a red background. You can see there's areas of it that are darker because there was something painted under it previously. So anyways, I've got my picture drawn out, and now using my black and white, I will switch to my color later, but using just my black and white image, I'm going to do an underpainting using my mother color. So a few things that I do with my underpainting now, I want to just take my terps on my brush and pull some of that dark valued mother color away. Okay, so this is nice and thin and lean. It's a lean layer. And with this, I'm going to come in and start to just put in where I see my darks. If I'm working and I find that my paint is going on too dark, I just need to add more turpentine. I use the Gambasol odorless and pull that through so that I'm working nice and lean and that my values are going to be right. So I'll just start bringing in the hair. At any time that I put this on, so right through this area, this person has gray hair, so if I put that on and it's too dark, I can just come in with my paper towel or my shop towel here. I love these blue shop towels. Get them at the hardware store, and I can lift some of that paint out and change the value that way. So I will just continue here with my different values. So hair's a little grayer there. I see shadow in the ear. So I'm going to just continue working around this face, putting in my value, and then I will come back when this is all done and we're ready to add color. Okay? Okay, so I have a fair amount of my value put in on this face with just using my mother color and mineral spirits, my Gamblin. I don't have it here to show it to you, but my Gamblin terps, that's what I use. And I've just gone around looking at the different values within the face and adding those values in. When you work lean like this, your oils will dry quickly, okay? And as we build our layers, we'll go fatter, which means I can use oil in my paint, or just my oil paints thicker with less, excuse me, terps. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things here. When I look at the eye and within the glasses, there are shadows here that reflect from the arm of the glass, and then the shadows that come under the eye. Now most of this I put in with a larger brush. Where is it here? It was a larger flat brush because I like to paint, what should I say? I don't want to have this high realism. I used to paint that way all the time. The more detail I could put into something, the more I liked it. And I'm finding now that I like to be able to paint in a way that basically less is more. If I can get the essence of the person, that's good enough for me, and move on from there. So now with my brush, you can see there's hardly any pigment on here, but I am going through just trying to pick up in the areas where I see a little bit more value change in areas here. So a little bit darker in the corners of the mouth here. I'll just pop some more of that in. There we go. And I seem to think I pretty much, well, there's a little bit, well, that might be a little strong. So there might be a little bit of a value change right there on that side of the nose. And like I say, because this is thinned down so much with turpentine, I can go in and basically just pick that color up, that pigment off my canvas. So we have a shadow that goes around the nose there, under the nose, nostril shadow. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. Another thing I wanted to mention when you paint a person with glasses, the glasses distort or fracture the shape of the face as you go down, similarly to when you see flowers in a vase. So this person has this is the forehead line, but as you can see, when it comes, that forehead line, when it comes inside the glasses, that face line, so there it is there, jumps over because the glasses have distorted that line. Okay, so you want to make sure that those distortions get in there to make it look more like the person you're trying to convey. There we are. So I think we're good with that. We have a shirt here. So this is his neckline, and there's a shirt. So we'll just put on that shoulder line and that shoulder line. Okay, so there we go. So now I want to mix my colors for my portrait. So I'll just put that aside for a minute, and it will dry fairly quickly, but because it's thin, it's really not going to be a problem. So once again, my limited palette of ultramarine blue, cad yellow light, and cad red light. Your yellow could be a medium also. I know a lot of people like to work with yellow ochre. I find it's really not necessary when you have your mother color. All right, so I'm going to make myself a flesh tone. I'm going to use a fair amount of paint here. So I'm going to use my red and my yellow. And with your oils, as with your acrylic, you really want to make sure that you mix this paint up really well. Glass palette is wonderful for mixing your paints. So there we go. I'm going to just test that with a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more yellow could go in there. So then let me try to scoop most of that up. All right, now to that base color, if we want to call it a base. I got a bit of a shadow there from my, oh, there we go. It's from my light that's behind me. Okay, so from this orangey type of base, I want to now desaturate that because you wouldn't see that color on a person's face at all. So I'm going to pull some of that down, and to that I'm going to add a little bit of my mother color to desaturate that flesh color. There we are. And now to that, I'm going to start to add white. And then I continue to add my white to this. I've got a bit of shadowing going on. I'm sorry about that. Doesn't seem to matter how I'm fixing up my lights. I'm only limited here at home.